huge mirror over the bath. I looked at my reflection and began to wobble. I looked weird, and I felt dizzy, and I thought I might collapse and fall onto the edge of the bath, so I steadied myself by holding onto the basin. The drink was hitting me big time. I could hardly stand. I needed to lie down before I fell over. I tottered back into the bedroom, pulled my dress down, threw it onto a chair. I stood for a moment in my new black lace bra and pants. Then I kicked my shoes off so hard they swung through the air, landed across the room and onto the bed. I thought that funny. There was a full-length mirror by the side table, and I stood admiring myself and practicing seductive poses. That made me laugh as well, especially when I wobbled. With my back to the mirror and my hands on my hips and my legs apart, I looked over my shoulder and I winked at myself. Maybe I could become a burlesque dancer if I was ever out of work. After I got tired of posing, I needed to go to the loo and lurched across the room to the bathroom again. I didn't bother shutting the door. Gareth was still talking in the next room. I made my way back to the bed, carefully negotiating all the obstacles. I must have made a noise, because I fell over once and banged against the table. Books flew off, including one of Gareth's poetry books. I picked it up and carefully placed it back on the table. I expected Gareth to open the door, but he didn't. He was so into his row with Philomena, he didn't hear. I got into the bed, pulled the duvet over me, and fell into a drunken sleep. I was woken by Gareth. He was shouting, "I find that extremely offensive." It went quiet. I drifted off, back to sleep, but not for long. I rose again, this time by him. He was shaking my shoulder and standing over me. I opened my eyes. Through my alcoholic haze, I could see he didn't look pleased. "What the hell are you playing at?" "All right, Gareth. Can't you see? I'm asleep. Don't leave me. Mojito. That's it. It's all that drink. I've had drunk too much. It's your fault. It's your..." I was falling asleep between each word. My speech was slurred. I tried sitting up, but the room spun round on its axis. I lay back feeling sick as a pig, and I drifted off. When I woke, he'd moved across the room. He was sitting in a chair. He looked angry. I tried to apologise, but my thoughts wouldn't translate into words. He banged his fist against his forehead and said, "This is all I bloody need. A drunken teenager in my bed." He was glowering with rage. He stood up, paced the room, back and forth, back and forth. He was making me feel worse. He glanced at me, saw I was beginning to wake up. I struggled to sit up. "I'm thirsty, Gareth." "I'm getting you some water." He went to the bathroom, filled a glass, and stood over me. "Here, take this. Drink it." I drank it. He gave me another, then moved across the room and sat in an armchair, watching me as I drank. I slowly put my finger to my lips. "Shh. Gareth, Be quiet. You'll wake people up. Come here. Don't be angry. I patted the bed, pulled the duvet back. Look. I've got nothing on. Look. Wouldn't you like to see? He was silent. His eyes transmitted hate, hostility, dislike. I, on the other hand, was on a mission. Did you hear me, Gareth? Gareth! Gareth! My voice became slower, more seductive each time I pronounced his name. You don't believe me, do you? I pulled the duvet right down, undid my bra, and swung my legs out of the bed, stood up. Oh no, you don't, you're drunk. With just my pants on, I lurched towards him. He jumped up, as if scalded, and turned his back on me. He moved fast towards the bathroom, pulled the door shut, and locked it. That was funny. So funny. Everything made me laugh now. He was frightened of me. I rattled the doorknob. Let me in! There was no response. I remembered what that bra fitter had said about burlesque dancers. They tease. I spoke sweetly outside the door. Gareth, I've got nothing on. I'm waiting for you to make love to me, like you did with Chloe. I saw you. I want you to do to me what you did to her. Gareth? It was cruel, I know. He'd gone quiet. I went across and put on a dressing gown lying across a chair. Then I returned to sit outside the bathroom door, like a cat waiting for a mouse, until eventually I fell asleep on the floor. When I woke up, he'd come out of the bathroom and was asleep in a chair. I felt mean. He became aware I was awake. We eyeballed each other. I stood up. I'm sorry, Gareth. I was drunk, but I don't feel so bad now. He was wary. But you're still drunk. As he said this, my dressing gown fell open. Don't come any nearer and do up that dressing gown. I pulled it across. I wasn't going to do anything. If you don't behave yourself, I'll leave this room and go elsewhere. You're horrible to me, Gareth. What time is it? He looked at his watch. 3:25. I want a cup of tea. Will you make me one? He sighed, but got up and silently made one. He put it on the floor by me. Don't spill it. The atmosphere was tense. Don't you want one? He didn't answer. He went back to the chair and sat watching me. He shook his head as if he couldn't make out what was going on. Why didn't you make love to me? He didn't answer. I wanted you to. You could have been the first. Give me a break, Echo. Anya, I'm Anya. Why? I want to know. After a long time, he said, why do you think? Because I'm ugly. Is that what you really believe? Don't know. Maybe you find me repulsive. No, I don't find you repulsive. Well, what is it? He sighed. Maybe it's because you're below the age of consent. Maybe it's because you're very drunk. Maybe it's because I have a wife and I'm in love with another woman. Maybe it's because I'm already in a mess. Are those enough reasons to be going along with? Do you understand? I look down at my tea. I finish my drink. I want to go home.
Thank you, Rosie Lee. And now Rachel is going to finish the readings by reading the final section of the book, which is a description of Echo's meeting with Gareth years later. Rachel.
Still, I wanted to look attractive for him, even though I felt critical of myself for thinking in this way. I brought a change of clothes and I took off my jeans and put on a simple black dress I'd packed. It wasn't tight, but straight and elegant, with a scooped neckline. It was one of my few bought as new dresses, and I wore it with the Art Deco necklace Maddie had given me, a silver bracelet, black tights, and high heels. I studied myself in the mirror, blocking the endless criticism, the voice of my mother, and then descended the stairs to the kitchen. Gareth and Philomena were sitting round the large kitchen table drinking wine and talking when I walked into the room. I couldn't have wished for a better entrance. They stopped talking. Gareth's eyes widened. He got up, walked towards me. Anya, I don't quite know what to say. He continued staring. Philomena said, well, I do. Anya, would you like a glass of wine? Please. Red or white? He looked stunning, by the way, very elegant. Red, please, Philomena. I smiled. I tried. Gareth didn't say anything. I wondered if I looked over the top. And it flashed through my mind how I used to feel intimidated when I saw Chloe, how I'd admired her style. And it was strange she now lived in the mountains. But I had a role to play, the urban sophisticate. It's good to see you, Gareth. I must apologise for the lack of communication. I've been really busy with one thing and another. I didn't stop for him to respond, but ploughed straight on. I hear you're well established now as a poet. I'm pleased for you, really pleased. Philomena also tells me you have a daughter who lives in the mountains with Chloe. Of course. I'm sorry you two split up, but happy for you and Chloe. I paused before saying, tell me about Carrie. I hope I'll meet her sometime. If not this visit, another time. I looked directly into his eyes. Philomena handed me a drink. I sat down opposite them both. He hadn't said a word. I smiled encouragingly at him. He was sitting with his head resting on one hand, studying me, and the gesture reminded me of how he'd looked in that hotel room. It was the same. I wondered what was coming and felt a little apprehensive. I dropped my gaze. You've changed, Anya. What's happened to the child I knew? There's a hard edge to you. It wasn't what I wanted to hear. Philomena said, shut up, Gareth. That's no way to talk to a guest. Anya and I used to always speak the truth to each other. It was something I liked about her honesty. He paused. Has that gone? Have you changed so much? He was looking at me so directly now I felt uncomfortable. I put my drink down, crossed my arms and sighed. I decided to play it straight without giving too much away. You're right, Gareth. I've grown up. I have changed, and maybe I am a little harder. But I'm still the same underneath. I still feel. I still care, and I'm sorry I lost touch with you. I was beginning to feel upset, and as I looked at him, he must have picked up on that. That's all right, Anya, don't think twice, it's all right. He smiled. I love that song. Bob Dylan, isn't it? You know it? Of course. My mother used to play it. Do you have a photo of Kerry? He gave me a look. I said, I mean it. I want to see a photo. He took out his wallet, pulled out a photo, and handed it across to me. She had the innocence of a child with none of Gareth's intensity. She looked more like Chloe, but I made no reference to that. I was thinking of Philomena and how hard it was for her. She looks a happy child, and she's pretty. I'd like to meet her. Yes, I'm very proud of her. I gave the photo back and said, and how is Chloe? Well, she's happy. She loves her work and looking after Kerry. What about you? I love my work too. I'm in the fashion industry, recycling clothes. They waited for me to say I was happy, but I couldn't. There was an awkward silence. Philomena stood up and pushed her chair back noisily. I'll make some food. Why don't you two go in the lounge and catch up? Gareth said, much as I'd like that, I have to go back. I was just passing and hadn't expected to see you, Anya. Chloe and Kerry will be waiting for me. You didn't know I was here? No, not until Philomena told me. I must go. We've got visitors. How long are you here? Till Monday. Not long then. I'll tell you what, I'll come tomorrow and we can go to the estuary. You always love the estuary. I'll take you. He stood up. Thanks, Gareth. I had planned to cycle there, assuming the weather's okay. That would be my preference. Then when? He was looking down at me with those intense blue eyes. I felt uncomfortable again, but I wanted to see him. Talking to him in Philomena's presence was difficult. I could meet you there. How about that? That's good. In the new car park at the edge of the woods. Philomena will tell you where it is. 12? I smiled, stood up and put my hand out to him. 12 it is. For a split second he looked puzzled, and then he shook my hand. He held it for a second longer than was necessary. But maybe that was my imagination. Philomena stood watching. She said, Gareth's right. You have changed. But whether you're hard-edged, I'm not sure. Well, I'll say this. You're certainly wary, if you don't mind my saying. There was a long silence. Gareth didn't respond to her comment, and neither did I. Then he smiled and said, I'm going. See you tomorrow. And I said, I look forward to that.